I want to welcome everybody to a brand new podcast. This is called Movers and Shakers Jax. My name is Kendell, and I'm a longtime broadcaster here in Jacksonville, Florida. But we like to learn about people all over the world. But today, we have with us a founder of a company that everybody knows, but I don't think they know as much as they think they do. Steve Howard of Trivia Nation, tell us, first of all, what is Trivia Nation? What do you do, and where do you do it?
Sure. Eden, thanks for having me. It's great to see you. It's always fun.
So always welcome here.
Always fun to hang out with you. So Trivia Nation brings people together to have fun. And primarily we do that by hosting live trivia and music bingo games in restaurants and bars, private events, corporate events. We also do theme nights, but we do it in maybe 250 locations a week throughout Florida, restaurant, bars, country clubs, and again, like we said, corporate and private events, and we have the best time. I'm so lucky to have built this lifestyle business, and I get to work with Kendell, so that's another
a bonus for me as well. So behind me, I have a Trivia Nation trophy. There are a lot of these. I had someone ask me once, because by the way, let me tell you this, I am one of the hosts, one of the many, many hosts at Trivia Nation. Now, it happens that I'm on the radio and sometimes TV, but that's not why I'm a host. Your hosts are every man. And every woman, teachers and
going, yeah. Well,
I mean, I can't even begin to.
We have lawyers,
doctor, anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that is a benefit of working with us. Well, so I'm maybe the reason why we've had success is I'm weirdly passionate about entertaining. I love hosting parties, throwing parties, and I love trivia, Jeopardy, watching with my family when I was a kid. And so I found live trivia nights, which were really sort of lame when I started, and I got fiercely passionate about it. And so if I could give you this example, Dick's Wings, San Pablo Road in Jacksonville. I started hosting there 20 years ago. Another guy owned the company. And when I started, there were approximately 20 players, maybe 4 or 5 teams every week. And it was, pretty sedate. And so I remember I trained with the guy the first week and there were 20 players. And then I trained with him the second week and there were 20 players. And then the next week was my first week to start. And so this is about 20 years ago and this is before texting. So I literally had to make phone calls. Can you imagine? And I had to talk to people, and I invited them to play. And so my first night hosting at Dick's Wing San Pablo, which had 20 players before I ever got there, had over 100 players for the next 10 years on a Wednesday night while I was hosting this Trivia Nation game, or it was called something else at the time. And my social life just expanded, and I was the center of attention, and I loved it. And to me, it didn't matter. I was like, I'm going to figure out how I can make this my career. I hate to say this, I'm awesome at it. I wish I was good at neurosurgery. I wish I could be a fantastic city manager. Or I wish I could desalinize the ocean so that we could have fresh water for something.
But what you are good at is putting on a fun evening out for families, friends, dates, whatever. That's what you are good at. So in a way, you're changing the world. You're making people happier. Don't diminish it.
Thank you.
Where would we be without you?
No, I thank you. I serve a purpose.
You have a purpose.
And so
you have a special purpose.
No, I think so. And so so around Jacksonville, there were a few live trivia nights. Remember, 20 people wasn't very exciting. And so I bought the company and I changed how we did things and really put a service perspective to it and a flair and
some quality control.
Quality control. I hired cool people. Fun people. I paid them more than the previous guy. We charged more to our customers. And then we attracted more fun, cool players that were really enjoying the experience. So we turned what was a relatively sedate, lame, maybe uneventful night of 20 maybe geeky players that weren't even spending money, and it wasn't really helping any restaurants, and it wasn't really creating camaraderie or a community. I turned that from 20 players to say 60 or 70 at all the venues we work in. And we started to work in more fun places that were very, very successful. As an example, very thankful to John Valentino, who is an excellent customer of mine. He owns all the Mellow Mushrooms in Jacksonville. He's the #1 franchisee of Mellow Mushroom. We're in all of his locations. We have 100 players at all of his locations. It's so fun.
Can I ask you a question? And you're absolutely welcome to say that's really not my place to say. A given restaurant on a weeknight, like a Tuesday, they might make what? Like what might be that without trivia, what could be like a normal take? And then if they have a successful trivia night, what could it be? Or is that just none of my business?
No, that's a perfect question.
Okay, because I'm dying to know.
So some venues, our average venue, it depends. We like to work with venues that do over $2 million in annual sales.
Sure.
So we're typically working $2 million to $8 million. Some stores, we work in some Miller's Ale houses. Those do $8 million in sales. We work in some Duffy's. Those do $6 million in sales, whatever it might be. So on a Tuesday, it depends on the location. Some of our locations do $1.5 million in sales, but maybe a guy does $5,000 on a Tuesday, and so he's doing 1,000 of that or 1,500 of that at lunch, and so he's doing 3,500 at dinner. And so if you hire Trivia Nation, our goal is always, for what we charge, we always want to increase sales by at least $1,000.
Okay.
And so if we do that, I always set expectations for our customers to increase by $1,000. We hope to do more, but that's where we want to get to.
Okay.
And so, Eden, the nice thing about increasing sales by about $1,000 is also, so that person, I'll get into you with costs if that's okay. Food costs, liquor costs, wine costs, all that stuff in restaurants and bars, it's about 30%. Food is 30%, liquor, beer, wine is lower, 17 to 25%. So essentially, if you increase sales by $1,000, their costs are only 30% of that, so that's $300. They might have to increase labor a little bit, put an extra server or bartender on, or possibly back of house, maybe a cook for another couple hours, but we only increase labor by a little bit. So $1,000 increase when we charge what we charge is a literal, to quote millennials or whatever, or Gen Z,
literally
a literal. It's a double their return on investment. So they pay us a particular amount of money. I give them that money back, and then they get that money in profit, a double return on your investment. And I do want to tell you, don't listen to the guy that can double your money, right? Because you should listen.
He's usually not telling the truth.
Right. But I will tell you, call any of our customers. They will tell you that we do it all the time.
But it's another thing, too, to talk to somebody who says, my goal is to double your money. And if it doesn't happen, it's not like you're saying, give me all your money and I'll double it. You're saying, sure, take a flyer on me. Let's try it for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and then I think you're going to see you're going to double your money. I'm pretty darn sure. And then the other part of it is the residual part, where people then have now tried out your establishment that maybe never would have gone before. And so they might return even on a different night or a regular basis.
Yes, we're bringing in new guests all the time. And of course, I want to really compliment our customers, our venues, our restaurants and bars. It's taken 20 years to get to be able to work with the folks that we work with. We used to have to take business at places, Eden, that sucked, okay? And I do also want to tell anyone that's listening, don't go into the restaurant bar business. It's just not, especially the independent restaurant bar business. It's so difficult, and 2024 is not the time to go into it now. But if you're excellent at it, go ahead. But I mean, my goodness, the percentages. 90% of businesses go, or 90% of restaurants go out of business within the first 5 years. Something like 95% in the first 10 years. I don't like to work with restaurants until they've been open 10 years. That's really smart. I got to tell you a funny story. I came to you because I'm a regular team trivia player with, first it was all the families in our neighborhood, and then sometimes it became just the adults when the kids were old enough to not have to lug along. It was great for a family night too, because sometimes you'll find your kids actually know some things. But we had this one run where place after place after place would close up after we would play trivia there. And then we finally realized, okay, here's what's going on. These places, they're bringing trivia in as a last ditch effort to stay afloat. Whereas you're working with successful restaurants. We were going to these places that were getting the one-off trivia companies maybe, and they were doing it because they needed to keep their doors open one more month or what have you. And we were starting to think we were the problem. Like, are we a jinx? What's happening here? But I think that is definitely a measure of success. If you're saying that these companies that own 10 successful restaurants in the community have you out there, some of them 2 nights a week, doing music bingo and trivia. What's music bingo? By the way, because I've never even been to a music bingo game. Well, if I could, thank you for recognize that. And so I want to tell you, a challenge in my business is 80% of the venues that come to us that fill out our email form, we don't want to work with. We can't work with. We know that they're grasping at straws. Their brand is not strong enough, or their business is not strong enough for us to help them. So, and we know they're never going to pay us. So what a challenge to have a business where 80% of the people that want to work with you, you can't do business with them because you know that it's not going to work. I have a large investment that I have to make when I start working with a venue. I have to hire a host. I have to train them. We have equipment. There's lots of resources and there's marketing. All of that is very front loaded. So all my costs are at the beginning. So if I don't work with a customer for at least 6 months, I don't make any money. And so fortunately, you're mentioning, you talk about all these other places went out of business that you were doing trivia at. Yes, it's typically done at failing restaurants. Guess where our most recent new customers have been from? Miller's Ale House. Duffy's, again, has 35 locations throughout Florida and growing. I don't know if you're familiar with the brand called Applebee's. And Applebee's is fantastic, by the way. I love their food and their service. There's always a manager on the floor. They're always clean. And Darty is a massive franchisee here in Florida. And we just started working with them. Super professional, excellent. They treat us with a ton of respect, and we love their guests and their staff. So we are only interested in working with larger brands, growing brands, people that understand expectations that these things take time. So yeah, we're thrilled. And it's just, I am so glad that you mentioned that when you had been playing trivia at places that you noticed that the places closed. Of course they did.
Yeah, well, because they brought in trivia because of the reasons we said. But then when we started doing things like going where we now go, which is V is where V Pizzas around town. I know that they all have some manner of or both of your products, and I host at one of them. Then also some of the country clubs have gotten into the mix, and I want it, which is great because members love that. Let's talk about corporate, because we've all been to a holiday party or a corporate meeting, team building event, and it can be cringe. And now I'm using the lingo of the kids. So let's talk about some of the things that you have done or plan to do more of with corporations, with companies, for their employees, for their management, for team building.
So, well, we are doing more and more corporate and private events every day, every month. We just did a fantastic corporate event for Brooks Rehab that was here in Jacksonville, and they used us throughout the day. There were breakout rooms, and we had a bunch of different trivia events for them, and it was team building, and people were cheering, and they were just having the best time. And what was fun is throughout our trivia game, we had asked some questions like about the CEO and who their favorite football team was. And it was just really, really lots of fun because we can tailor this to whatever questions you'd like. And so some of us at Trivia Nation, we have that we're pretty funny, and we are able to write some fun content so that it makes, because we want to crack everybody up. We want singing and dancing. And yes, those boring corporate events, we are not that. And I'll tell you, Eden, corporate events are so much easier for us because it takes away the X factor of a restaurant and bar, whether the server's going to be there or not. A corporate event is fully contained. We know how to do them. We're super pros at doing them, and we're consistently getting 5-star Google reviews and repeat business. We want more of it.
So if you're someone that goes regularly to a Trivia Nation night, what you need to know too is, like, for the corporate, all of we hosts, like, that's our goal. Like, I hope I'm good enough to be chosen one day to do a corporate event, because you obviously are sending out the best of the best. So the best experience you've ever had at any Trivia Nation event, that and then some is what you would expect at your corporate event. And the thing that is really the icing on that cake is that you are tailor-making the questions with the help of whoever is coordinating. So if I have a company and I know that everybody loves to make fun of so-and-so, the big guy, I'm going to pick one of those as one of the questions, and the people are going to love them. It's going to endear them to their management. It's going to make them look forward to the company party or the company team building meeting, instead of what we all usually do, which is like complain the whole time we have to go to it. And then everybody's like, where's the after party? We got to get out of here. So this is the after party.
I don't know if you listeners understand how fantastic Eden is at doing that description. I mean, it is. I was like, oh my gosh, been there. I wish I really, it's just so fun to work with Eden. Eden has been she's just been one of the most wonderful people that we've ever had work with us.
Can you do me a favor?
I'm so happy about
I'm going to ask you a big favor because it was one of my favorite compliments ever, and I'm not kidding you. when you said that I'm just the right amount of diva, can you elaborate? Because I loved it.
Oh,
I loved it.
Well, I'm glad, and I'm also very happy that you didn't take it the wrong way. It was the best, most perfect compliment I thought I could give, and so diva-ish, or the most perfect amount of diva. Well, you're a celebrity in this area, at least, radio and television personality. So people know you, and then so we're so excited. You're friends with John Crawford. You played our game before, and you started to host with us. And you have particular things that you like when you're working. And as a business owner, I want to be. So a lot of people just are yes men to me, right? They don't tell me when there are problems or issues or how can we improve. And you were letting me know, hey, maybe I would do this differently, or I don't know if you know this, but. And so you were very helpful to give me a good perspective from maybe things that people aren't letting me know, but they are dealing with those issues. So we tried to fix some of the things that you were letting us know about. And we all should be treated with a high level of respect everywhere we go, especially in a working environment. And if we aren't, we should
kind of demand it.
Well,
in a nice way.
You and I command ourselves, or we act in a particular way that probably commands a little respect. I mean, and so, but that was a very long.
Well, this isn't about me. I just thought I wanted to goof on you a little bit. I don't want to make this about me. It's about you.
Very long answer to a short question. No, I love working with you.
Well, thank you.
But again, you mentioned we take regular people. So Aaron,
anybody can do it.
As an example, Erin Fiallo works for us in Tampa at McDitton's and Gerstl's at Clearwater Beach. Erin Fiallo is an educator. She was a teacher. Now she's a principal. And Erin Fiallo just exudes joy, and she is just a lovely woman. And she was not necessarily a radio television personality, but she was a cool woman who enjoyed this, that I said, here's how to do this. Here's how to really make it great. And she's just such a lovely woman. And her friends, Roxanne Butts and Amanda Crane, they're both educators in Tampa. They're our best trivia hosts. And so, they're just the greatest ladies and so cool to me. And then they go take their trivia money and they go to, let's see, they were in Paris last year.
Oh, that's who it is. I knew that
I've
there's
seen
some.
them go to like Southeast Asia,
Yes.
I think.
They travel with their money.
Yeah, and I just love when they go. The only problem is when they go, they usually go as a pack, and then we need to get substitutes for them, and it's a pain in the ass for Tony. So that's the only issue.
Only
but
problem.
They usually get subs. They help us to get subs for them. So yeah, that's.
You know, we had a couple that was engaged when they first started coming to trivia, and so I kept saying to them, "Listen, we'll do your wedding, have Trivia Nation come out, because you do private events all the time too. You know, we talked about corporate, but it could be like,
40th birthday party we did recently.
It could be a bar mitzvah.
Absolutely.
I mean, 40th birthday party. That is great. If you have a birthday, like if you're turning 50, all the trivia from the year that you were born. I mean, that's just a fantastic fun event. But so
that's about our average. I think that's about our average age of our player. We think our average age of our player is about 40 to 60.
Other than theme nights, though, because let's talk about theme nights as a matter of fact. Because when you have a theme night, then you're really hitting, like, for example, if it were to be a Taylor Swift theme night, that would be I would assume a younger crowd. I mean, I'd probably want to throw my hat in the ring, but I would get squashed by some of these younger folks, by all of them, honestly. So what are theme nights, and how do they play into this?
So we really are awesome at these weekly trivia events that we do. I mentioned John Crawford, Dick's Wing San Pablo, V Pizza Julep, Eden Kendell. We have fantastic times and we draw a great crowd. But what we ended up being really, really good at was theme nights. And so a theme night could be Harry Potter. That was our first one, Hurricane Grill at Bartram's Park. We had 150 players. We learned a lot that night. That one was a little bit of a challenge, but we got really good after that. We've had 200 people at McDitton's in Tampa, which McDitton's is like the coolest bar in Tampa. We had 200 players there. So much fun. The energy was fantastic. It was great. A bunch of beautiful women. Really, it was a lot of fun. And so we've done The Office, we've done 80s night or 90s night. And then you mentioned Taylor Swift. I sometimes don't even like saying her name near a microphone because it could explode. I mean, it's really, you just put her name anywhere and people go crazy. My wife and daughter are the same way. They go to all her tours. So Taylor Swift, as an example, we did at Bricks in Jacksonville Beach. Bricks in Jacksonville Beach, probably the busiest bar at the beach. Really fantastic. Those guys are great to us. Thank you, Bricks. So we had 200 plus players that night. Again, the demo was 21 to 30-year-old women, and we had them like singing along the entire bar, and it was a riot. It was a pain to manage because there was just so many bodies in there, but it was a lot of fun. And I don't know, you might have seen, we make these big heads and we take a bunch of pictures and we do costume contests, and the engagement is insane. And then we typically sell these out all of the time. And Eden, so our Trivia Nation theme nights in 2024, what we are planning on doing with them. So we have just added community service to our core values. Fun, high quality, accountability, growth are Trivia Nation's 4 core values. So we've just added community service. And in 2024, what we're going to do, at least for the first half of 2024, is we are going to do theme nights where we charge people to play. We have large prizes, and it's this big, awesome, fun event. And the ticket price, all of the money will go to charitable causes in our community. So
amazing.
I don't need that money. I really want to use our company. I have children. I want to be a pillar in my community, and that is important. It is important for me to give back. I mean, you and I are both super blessed. I mean, why are our lives this good?
Nothing we did that I can think of personally, anyway, to deserve how fantastic things are going. So
yeah,
knocking on some wood, and also saying, you're putting it out there. You're not here to say, hey, I'm Steve Howard, I'm a pillar in my community. You're saying, my intention is to be a pillar in my community, have a plan to make it happen, and this is what it is.
Yes, so I want to use Trivia Nation. I'm 49 years old. By the time I'm 60, I want to have given millions of dollars away through good work through Trivia Nation. That is what is going to happen. My wife and I are very fortunate. Our customers stay with us for a long, long time. Our host, John Crawford, as we mentioned, 20 years. Jonathan Leffingwell, like 10 years. Andrea Crossan, Mark Demeter, all these people have worked for us for over 10 years. No one quits. We provide a fun place. We pay them properly. And, I make a nice living. What do I have to have $100 million? That's not something that is interesting to me. But what would be interesting to me is giving $100 million to a hospital, giving $100 million to the Tim Tebow Foundation, whatever it might be. So that is what my purpose is to use the resources that I have, which is my brain for fun ideas and Trivia Nation, to raise money for people in our communities.
I'm going to say that we should end on that note, on this conversation. There are more conversations that we can have. And as these events come up, I hope that you will think about a return to this little podcast so that we can talk about those things at length. There are going to be times when maybe the goal is to acquire more hosts. I think you're always looking, right? People are always welcome to apply.
Yes. Thank you for asking, Eden. If you are interested in getting out, if you're an extrovert, you know who we really love? I mentioned teachers, musical theater people. These are so trivia nights, you might, if you haven't been to ours or if you've ever been to one, they're pretty, again, I use the term sedate. They're pretty chill. Ours are not. And we're getting better and better, and they're becoming a little bit more theatrical, and there's more singing and dancing, which is so cool to have singing and dancing in a bar. What is better than that? Or like getting the whole bar to sing Sweet Caroline at the end of the night. It's so fun. So we love musical theater people, but you can be an accountant, you can be whatever the heck it is, and then you can kind of turn on your game show when you host Music Bingo or trivia. And you mentioned, what is Music Bingo? Music Bingo is a really, really fun game. It's great for families, or it's great for going out and having a drink with your girlfriends or your buddy. Essentially, it's bingo. On bingo cards, actually, we have a digital game, except instead of saying B7 or I-17, we play songs. So it could be all out 80s, or it could be Christmas themes, or Disney, or it could be Latin night, or whatever it is. So we change the genre for the people that are there. And our host goes around with a microphone and people are singing and dancing, and it's kids, and you can get in. If you want to get in the game, you can stay for 30 minutes and play a little bit, and it's free to play at this point, and you get $5 if you get a bingo, whatever it might be. So, and again, we took a game that I saw that was really lame, and then we hired awesome people, and then we trained them to do it better than we'd seen. So, lots of fun. We have about 45 locations that do music bingo. Music bingo is super cool. And if a lot of our people that come to our trivia nights, Eden, I don't know if you know this, I think that 25% of the people that play our trivia nights are good at trivia, and that 75% that go are friends with those people.
You're 100% right.
Okay, cool.
You are 100% right.
So those 75% that don't like trivia, a lot of times like a music bingo that is mindless, and I'm not saying these people are dumb. I'm saying they're not interested in trivia.
Listen, music is their wheelhouse. They're the ones that get the most excited when music is a category, and then they find out that particular night that music question is about a violin, and they're like, what?
Right. So and just,
you got to scratch their itch.
Just on the answer with this music bingo, also, when you're playing music bingo, you do not have to know the name of the song. You don't. We tell you what the name of the song is, so you put it down on the card. Yeah. There's no thinking. So, which is really nice sometimes when you're going out and you don't want to get into it. So,
well, I think what you've done is found the right mix of having a good time and also using your noggin and also helping people. You've got a company that is checking all the boxes. If we had to do a call to action at the end, it would be so many different things. We could say, hey, if you're somebody who thinks you'd love to host, by all means, go on trivianation.com. There is an easy to fill out application. Yeah. If you are somebody who is a restaurant owner and you feel very strongly that you can convince Steve and his folks that you're going to stay in business, you can hire them to try to double. Yeah, he feels good that you will double your take. If you are a corporation, certainly this is something you should be considering for your next corporate event. If you are somebody who's getting married, or you don't want to have a bachelor party, but you want to get all the dudes together, or you're having a bar mitzvah, or you're having a birthday party, that's another option for Trivia Nation.
Absolutely, yeah, Eden, all of those things. So yeah, if you're a manager or a director or a vice president or at your company, we are a fantastic alternative to maybe some of the more boring, team building events you have. We also do a super job at virtual team building events. We have a brilliant host, Matt Owen. He's so funny, he's so fun, he's so cool, and our game is really fun. So that's on our website. And lastly, we are offering corporate sponsorships to work with Trivia Nation. So I just mentioned some huge brands, Miller's Ale Houses, right? Duffy's, 35 locations in Florida. Applebee's, 1,000 locations throughout the country. Mellow Mushroom, we work in Gators Docksides, we work at tons of restaurants. And so wouldn't you like to get in front of these people, our players, and then also be advertised within the four walls of those restaurants? So we are looking for corporate partners to come aboard with us, and that will allow us to do much more fun events, but that can get your name out into the community. And you can sell, let's say you're a realtor. So as an example, Eden works at V Pizza Julep. It's in Palm Valley, Ponte Vedra, very affluent area. I mean, if I was a realtor, all I would want to do is sponsor that Wednesday night, because there's 100 people there. A lot of those people are buying homes, or their kids are buying homes. My Morgan Stanley guy, Neil Powell, that guy should be in there giving his card through Trivia Nation. I mean, that's an inexpensive sponsorship opportunity to get in front of really excellent particular customers that you can then, become friends with.
Love it. I mean, there's just so much to explore there. So tell everybody how they can reach out. Once again, trivianation.com is the best way. What about you personally? How can people find you? Are you on social media? Are you doing,
sure,
is there any way that we can?
Just Stephen Howard, Steven, Stephen Howard, Facebook. I don't do Instagram. I'm trying, there's some of the
You have people for that.
You're right. I mean, we have a philosophy of happy life and stuff, and I
don't
want to be doing all that too much.
I understand
But my phone number is 904-707-1664.
How about that?
I don't answer it, but I look at texts and I'll answer those. If you have a great idea for what we're doing and you think that you could help, or if you want to write questions, or really if you have a charity that you work with that thinks that we would be a great idea to help with fundraising, we won't let you down. We would never charge anybody for anything that they weren't satisfied for. I mean, I've got, again, 200 customers every week. I'm so thrilled over the last 20 years. So, you know, we work with a high level of integrity and accountability, and we're super happy that, you know, I don't have to work at a law firm for 80 hours a week, I guess. And I love you lawyers, like most of my friends. A lot of my friends are lawyers.
Well, as long as we're willing to offend. You know who thinks they would be great at writing the questions? Everybody.
Every player.
They're not. Person that comes.
They won't be.
That they don't understand. They don't know. They don't know the hard work that goes into it, because not only do you first have to write the question, then every host thinks they're going to write a better question, and they don't know how hard it is either. It's very difficult, but they are very fair, very unique, very interesting questions. I will say that. So anyway, let's leave it at that for now. You now know how you can get a hold of Steve. And thanks everybody for listening to Movers and Shakers Jacks, where we're trying to tell you the stories behind the businesses you're already familiar with, but you don't really know about them.
And real quick, Eden is fantastic to work with. I mean, and so if you are interested in getting your brand out, Eden will do everything that she promises you and more. I mean, she under promises and over delivers. As far as I'm concerned, I've worked with her for 2 years. It's a growing friendship, and I'm so thrilled to continue.
Likewise.